Panel, do we have a World Series preview this weekend? The two best teams in baseball for one weekend, and then the All-Star break. That's how you end the first half. Also, the Yankees add an ace with 4 fewer appearances this season than Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And Victor Wembanyama's Summer League debut. Let's go around the horn.
There he is. A lot of Yankee hate on this show lately.
Merely a statement of fact, Frank. That a position player pitched for the 4th time for this team with a $300 million payroll. All right. Summer League is where hype goes to get pressure cooked, and tonight maybe blows the roof off. The first glance at Victor Wembanyama in a San Antonio Spurs uniform. Don't need to say anymore. Frank Isola, nobody knows the Summer League better than you. What does tonight mean? What does tonight not mean for Wembanyama, the Spurs, and the NBA?
Major travel screw up for me. I'm going tomorrow to Vegas. I should have been there tonight to watch Victor Wembanyama play. For me, the hype definitely is comparable to Zion Williamson 4 years ago. He also played on a Friday night on ESPN at 9 o'clock at night. The big difference was we all knew Zion Williamson. We watched every game that he played at Duke, and everyone fell in love with him, his personality, the way that he played. Victor Wembanyama is the international man of mystery. Most of us, yes, we've seen him. We've seen what he looks like. And except really highlights, we haven't seen him play. We all want to see how he does against somewhat NBA competition. I get it, it's not NBA, but it is NBA teams out there. And I think tonight for him, will we overreact if he has a dominant performance? Absolutely. Will we overreact if he's just so-so? Absolutely. That's what we do.
These aren't great points for your argument here. Give me something, Frank, an expectation.
Depending on the minutes, I think 15 points, about 8 rebounds, 5 block shots. I could see that from him.
There you go.
Remember, he did play professionally in France.
David Dennis Jr., how about you?
We are going to see Wemby on cruise control. One of the main issues that we talk about him going into the season is his health and his ability to wear and tear in this type of league. We saw what happened to Chet Holmgren last season. I know it was different circumstances, and I know it's different court and all that stuff, but a lot of people are talking about can that body hold up. And one thing you don't want to do is have an injury in this game. We're not going to see him diving for balls, not going to see him doing anything crazy and trying to, outwork anybody, but he is still in cruise control, going to look like the future of the NBA. You can bet on that.
Okay, so you're not exactly hyping the game saying put it on cruise control, but you are expecting him to look like everything we expect. Emily Kaplan, to you.
I think that expectations are sky high. I mean, this game is sold out. It might be easier for you to get a ticket to Adele or U2 in Vegas than seeing this kid play. But if there's anyone poised to handle this attention and pressure, it's him. I mean, I've been listening to a live Brian Windhorst who spent more time with Wemby than anyone here in North America. And he says that he's friends with Michael Douglas. Yes, that Michael Douglas. These are the A-list, the circles that he handles himself in. And so when you have that situation like Britney Spears that happened this week, where it's kind of awkward and it's not Wemby directly involved, it's a security guard, I look at the way that he addressed reporters. It was with a lot of humbleness. It was with a lot of maturity. He was very composed. And so I think that he's well-positioned and uniquely positioned to handle all of this attention we're about to give him.
You bring that instance up. Were you surprised he was out there speaking, that even the team put him out there?
Yes and no. I mean, just watching him in that press conference, I was just like, this looks like a veteran. Like, he didn't seem frazzled at all. He said all of the right things. Again, there was this air of humility. It's like, I didn't realize it was her until after. It was kind of cool, and I apologized to her, but I really liked the way he handled himself.
And Bill Plaschke.
David Dennis, you said cruise control. I don't want him on cruise control. You kidding me? That's the first time I've seen him. I want him double. I've predicted a double-double from him. I want him to go all out. We've been waiting for this guy for 2 years. He led the French league in points, rebounds, and blocks. And in 2 games against the G League last year, he scored averaged 37 points. Yeah. This guy's a stud. This guy's tremendous. I want to see him do it tonight. I did $200 a ticket. I don't want to see.
Listen to Plaschke here, keeping stats in Summer League games. He demands a double-double. David, back in.
Oh, that's the point. Wemby on cruise control is going to get you 18 and 10 tonight. That's the point. Is that when you see this guy trying to?
All right, and if he doesn't,
still going to be the
David Dennis Jr. Around the horn next week saying, I saw the last word after the horn.
And remember, he wanted to go to the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs have dealt with big men before. So watch tonight, because you don't know how many games you're really going to see him in Summer League. Because, again, remember, he just finished a professional season in France. But the Spurs have a way of generating a lot of interesting stories during Summer League. Remember a few years ago when Becky Hammon was the head coach of their Summer League team and had a great run then as well.
You guys are out of your mind. Look at you. You got interesting stories in Summer League. Plaschke is in a fantasy league for Summer League,
Let's hype this
basically.
game up.
He needs those stats from Wembanyama tonight.
I need to see it
Another
now.
storyline from tonight is it's San Antonio versus Charlotte. So that's number 1 versus number 2. And Brandon Miller has played twice already for Charlotte. His coach said he wanted to see more motor after the first game. And in the second game, 6 points, 7 assists, 8 fouls, because they don't foul out of these games. He has more fouls and turnovers combined than points in 2 games. David, same question I asked. What does that mean, and what does it not mean here for Brandon Miller?
So in a vacuum, when you're looking at a player like Miller and you have the organization that he's going to, the Hornets, and the amount of time that he has to get better, I would say in that vacuum, it's not a huge deal. But when we're talking about what he has been through and what we've seen with him in these last few months, this guy was involved in a capital murder a few months ago. Now, we know that there's, a lot of exonerating things that say that he, was not necessarily directly involved in what happened, but there were 2 gunshots that went through his car. There are some mental strain that comes from things like that, and we have a guy who went into his second game, looked like he was folding under some of that pressure, and the tournament were looking like he was kind of folding under some of that pressure. What kind of mental health stuff are the Hornets doing to prepare this number 2 pick for this season? Those are the concerns that we're talking about beyond just the stats.
I understand that. And also, we mentioned the turnovers and the fouls from the basketball perspective, David. Anything there for you?
Yeah, that looks like a rookie who's struggling early on. And again, those are sort of mental issues that you have, and you have to decide if these are just regular mental issues of a rookie or somebody who's actually going through something.
Frank Isola?
I remember watching Greg Oden and Kevin Durant play for the first time in Summer League 1 versus 2. They played in the Cox Pavilion, which is next to the Thomas and Mack Arena. Now they're selling out arena to see number 1 versus number 2. And I think what's going to happen here with Brandon Miller, all year long, should they have taken Scoot Henderson? Should they have taken Brandon Miller? I would only say this. He's 20 years old, and I get it. 15 fouls in 2 games, but you have a lot of young refs that are trying to make their mark. These games get over-officiated. It drives you nuts after a while when you watch them. So just be careful with that. And another thing, Tony, you see it all the time. Keegan Murray played in playoff games for Sacramento. He played in their 2 games in the Summer League in the California Classic, absolutely dominated. So it's still a big jump for guys, even if it's just the Summer League. The next year when you see guys who already have a year under their belt, they end up dominating Summer League.
Okay, but that final line where it's 6 points, 2 field goals, not many attempts after being asked, let me see some motor here from an assistant coach.
That's fair. And I also, people should remember, Kevin Knox, who's a good NBA player, dominated Summer League. Nate Robinson was the MVP a couple of times. Your career is not made or broken in Summer League. I'm sorry. Still, again, the thing that he has going for him, unbelievable talent, and he's only 20 years old.
Bill Plaschke, bring you in here.
Unbelievable talent, agreed, but it's problematic that he had a bad first game, and the second game he only took 4 shots. It was like he cowered against the criticism. This is a guy, remember, who was 8 for 41 in the NCAA tournament, the worst shooting percentage in 38 years of anybody who played regularly. He comes in here with question marks, and I think his mental toughness, I think his toughness under pressure is a question. And I don't need to see the stats, but you need to see the toughness, and I think we need to see that from him.
So it's being tested right now, but you're putting a lot of stock. Yes. Again, I know about your fantasy league for Summer League. In that just 4 shots attempt after being asked to maybe turn it on a little bit more. Emily Kaplan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's a direct correlation of how you perform in Summer League with the players that you're playing with against the competition, as Frank mentioned, the refs that you're playing against, and what it's going to look like in the regular season. That said, we can't bring the hypocrisy here. All we're talking about is Summer League right now. Frank's flying out there to go see it. It's not that days where it used to be in a high school gym and Dirk Nowitzki's joking about washing his own jerseys. This has become a thing, and there's so much attention on this guy. It's not 1 versus 2. It's always going to be 2 versus 3. Scoot Henderson's really positioned to come and have a lot of success here. And I'm just curious to see how Brandon Miller handles all of this extra attention and criticism that's on him before his NBA career even started.
Tonight, the Summer League game that Frank Isola won't be at. But you'll be there next week, Frank. It's great.
Did she say it's not a big
Way to
deal
go,
because
Frank.
I'm
Good
going?
job.
Did she just say that?
All right,
No, I'm
taking
saying
a
it's
break.
a very big
Buy or
deal.
sell
And
on
I
the other
just think that you might
side.
not go if it wasn't in Las Vegas.
We
Maybe
have
another city you might not visit.
Tampa, Atlanta this weekend. Let's go.
I'll be there.
Would you go to Buffalo? Summer League in Buffalo?
It's buy or sell. Carlos Rodon's season and Yankee debut tonight. Let's start there. Could this be what turns the Yankees around? They're still hanging on to the wild card 3 by the skin of their teeth. They lost 14-1 to Baltimore last night. Infield, outfield, jack of all trades, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa made his 4th appearance in a blowout loss this year as a position player pitcher. That's how bad it's been for New York. Rodon signed for 6 years, $162 million this winter, Frank. So buy or sell that there's pressure on Rodon tonight already in his first start.
100% there is. Other than re-signing Aaron Judge, this was the biggest move that the Yankees made during the offseason. And remember, you could dominate a playoff series with 2 great starting pitchers. They have Garrett Cole. Now Rodon will be returning. Then they're playing the Cubs. Remember this, too. Here's a guy, the last 2 years, he was averaging 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. He can be dominant at times. He needs to infuse the Yankees with a big-time arm and some life, because right now this team is sort of flatlined.
Bill Plaschke.
Yeah, this is huge. The Yankee starters are 15th in ERA. The bullpen is 3rd. The bullpen's ready to go. The starters need help. This is important for them. And also, with Aaron Judge's toe injury looking worse and worse by the day, they need to get a pitching jolt. They need a jolt of energy. This is huge for
Emily
them.
Kaplan.
Yeah, I mean, of course there's pressure, but you take on that pressure when you sign a $162